Right. Most of the time, we just hope to create an interesting theatrical experience for that small group. We don't expect that they're going to be happy. A lot of people, it seems like it's sort of, it's hard to tell. Some people just feel really bad about being fooled no matter what. Other people really enjoy it. And when it's revealed, even at these events, sometimes there's people who afterward, at the Halliburton Survive Ball thing, there was one guy who afterward came up and said, I don't know if you guys make a living doing this, but I think it's great, One guy. The rest of the audience was like, yes, these look very expensive. Good idea, Halliburton. So there's, it varies, like what the responses are. But we don't care so much about what that audience feels, because that primary audience is only a kind of a vehicle for telling the story, for having an audience basically to tell the story, for making the story more dynamic. And the fact that they don't respond negatively to this is kind of an alarm bell. And that's the lesson that we took away from it. The very first time we did this, we went to a law conference in Salzburg. We proposed, we didn't have any fancy props, but we had a really weird PowerPoint. And we proposed, among other things, opening a free market in democracy by allowing people to sell votes to the highest bidder. We suggested outlawing the long lunch in Italy and the siesta in Spain because it gets in the way of work, and it's not in the spirit of harmonization, which is a real trade term that the WTO was promoting at the time. So it turned out that all the lawyers in the audience politely applauded and basically agreed with it. And that shocked us so much that first time that it sort of set us on this whole path where we realized that there was an interesting dynamic there, not only in terms of psychology and group behavior and people's willingness to obey an authority figure, but also in terms of what that might mean for this broader environmental issue of the entire planet. But what I think the important thing for those events is that they're publicized. First, like, we document them. I know nobody can read this from way back there, but I'll just read it out. So we document it. We document it as many ways as we can: stills, video, and then most importantly, the press release. And the release, we usually try to write it before we even go do it, so that we're ready to send it. And sometimes it's been sent simultaneous to the event. Rich there has actually sent the press release for us at times. I'll call him up and say, Rich, we're in an emergency. We need the press release sent out while we're doing this thing so that it goes out at the right time. The video, if you can turn it around quickly enough and post it on the web, it's useful. You just need evidence. The whole idea is to have some kind of trail of evidence so that a journalist can, in good conscience, report it as fact, even though it could be completely fabricated, of course. The press releases, you can get any number of different books on how to write a good press release. We follow the same rules that any corporation does when they're creating their fake news. Which is basically make sure that you got who, what, when, where, and why, and a catchy line up at the top, a catchy headline to try to draw people in. It happens that we have the benefit of being able to really leverage more catchy headlines than I would say most corporations can. If they're trying to advertise toothpaste or something, it's usually a little bit harder than promoting some kind of weird thing like this that journalists are more likely to carry.